Welcome to CBS Easy.
Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we've got a fantastic 2-for-1 special for you, a real power pack to get you ready for your exams. We're gonna dive deep into the incredible adventure of a young girl in Madam Rides the Bus, and the hilarious but surprisingly wise story of the tale of Custard the Dragon.
Come on, think about it for a sec. Maybe that time you saved up your pocket money for weeks to buy a video game, or you planned a surprise party for a friend, and you had to keep it all a secret. Well, our first hero, a little girl named Valli, she's basically a master of secret missions. And her mission? To ride the bus that passes her house every single hour.
Okay, so let's get into it. Meet Valli. She's 8 years old, and her absolute favorite thing to do is just stand in her front doorway and watch the world go by. And the most interesting part of that world? The bus. For her, watching that bus filled with people sparked what the book calls an overwhelming desire to ride it herself.
Now, Valli didn't just daydream about this. Oh no, she planned it like a secret agent on a mission. Her strategy was just brilliant. First up, observation. She watched that bus like a hawk every day. Then, she moved on to intel gathering. Listening in on her neighbors' chats, asking a few sneaky questions to get the details. Next, calculation. She figured out everything. The fare, the distance, even how long the trip would take. And finally, the toughest part, saving. This was a real test of her willpower.
60 paise. I mean, to you and me, that sounds like almost nothing. But for Valli, it was an absolute fortune. She had to save every single coin she could get her hands on. And think about the willpower. The book tells us she had to say no to peppermints, toys, balloons, and even a ride on the merry-go-round at the village fair. That 60 paise wasn't just money. It was a symbol of her incredible determination.
So the big day finally arrives. Valli walks up, puts her hand out, and stops the bus. The conductor, who's a pretty friendly guy, reaches out to help her up, and this is what she says. This line, it's so important. It just screams independence and confidence. She doesn't see herself as a little kid. She's a passenger, a paying customer. And it's that grown-up attitude that makes the conductor jokingly call her madam.
And just like that, her adventure begins. For the first time ever, she's on that bus, seeing the world outside her tiny village. Can you just imagine the excitement? Seeing the canal, the palm trees, the mountains in the distance, everything rushing by. The world was suddenly so much bigger and more exciting.
And then we get this moment of just pure, unfiltered joy. A young cow, with its tail straight up in the air, starts running right in the middle of the road in front of the bus. The more the driver honks, the more the cow runs, and Valli finds this absolutely hilarious. She laughed so hard that tears came to her eyes. This moment perfectly captures her childlike innocence and just the simple fun she's having. The sight of this animal, so full of life and energy, really becomes the high point of her journey into town.
But on the way back, that joy just vanishes. The entire mood of the story takes a sharp turn, and things get much more serious, much more somber. She sees the very same cow, but now it's lying dead by the side of the road. The book describes it in this really stark way, with its legs spread out, lifeless eyes, and blood everywhere. The very same creature that brought her so much happiness just a little while ago is now this horrible, scary sight. For Valli, this is her first real, unavoidable encounter with the idea of death.
And that's the thing. This experience changes her. The memory of that poor cow just sticks with her. She doesn't want to look out the window anymore. All the bright, colorful shops that seemed so exciting before now just seem meh. The magic of the journey is gone, and in its place is this new, heavier understanding of the world. So, quick question for you. What does her reaction really tell us about her character? Is it A, that she's observant? B, that she's sensitive and can grasp deep emotions? Or C, that she's just easily scared? Well, the best answer here is B. I mean, yeah, she's observant, but it's the sadness that's key. It shows she's not just seeing things, she's feeling them deeply, and she's trying to understand something as big as life and death.
All right, time to switch gears completely. We're jumping from Valli's really thoughtful story into the wonderfully silly and very clever world of this poem. It's called a ballad, which is basically a story told in verse. And it sounds kind of funny and light, but trust me, it's got a really important message hiding inside.
First off, let's meet the crew. You've got Belinda, who claims to be as brave as a barrel full of bears. Then there's her kitten, Ink, and her mouse, Blink, who are supposedly so tough they can chase lions. Her little dog, Mustard, is as brave as a tiger in a rage. And then, well, then there's Custard the Dragon. He's the odd one out.
the one they all call a coward, because all he wants is a nice, safe cage.
Now, here's a term you'll want to remember for your exam: ballad. It's just a fancy word for a poem that tells a story, usually in short, catchy stanzas that kind of feel like a song. This poem is a perfect and really fun example.
So what makes it so song-like? It's the rhyme scheme. It's a super simple and consistent ABB pattern. See? House rhymes with mouse, wagon rhymes with dragon. It does this through the whole poem, which makes it super easy to read and remember. The poet also uses a ton of similes. This is another key poetic device to look out for. All a simile is a comparison between two different things using the words like or as. It's a simple trick to create a really strong image in the reader's head.
And this poem is absolutely full of them. Custard's mouth is like a fireplace. Belinda's bravery is compared to being as brave as a barrel full of bears, and Mustard is as brave as a tiger in a rage. See how that works? Just simple, direct comparisons that paint a really clear picture for you.
So, everyone in this little white house, except for Custard, talks a big game. They're all so brave, and they love making fun of Custard for being such a coward. But, talk is cheap. What happens when a real danger, a mean-looking pirate, actually shows up at their door?
Well, this is where we see the huge difference between talking brave and being brave. The pirate climbs in the window, and what do our so-called heroes do? Belinda screams for help, Mustard runs away yelping, Ink and Blink vanish into hiding spots. They're all useless. But Custard, the coward, he jumps up, snorting like an engine, and just gobbles that pirate right up.
So the main irony of the poem is what? It's got to be B, right? The one character everyone teased, the one they all called a coward, turned out to be the only one who had any real courage when it mattered.
Okay, let's wrap this all up. Let's do a super quick review of the key things you absolutely have to remember from both of these great stories for your exams. Ready? For Madam Rides the Bus, remember Valli's character traits. She's a planner, she's independent, and she's super sensitive. Her journey isn't just a bus ride, it's about growing up and facing the reality of life and death. For Custard the Dragon, remember, it's a ballad, and its main idea is about true bravery versus just talking big. Know those poetic devices, the AABB rhyme scheme, and all those similes. And the big theme, actions speak way louder than words.
And that leaves us with one last big question that kind of ties both stories together. Valli was just a chit of a girl, but she planned and pulled off this huge adventure. Custard was seen as a cowardly dragon, but he was the real hero. So it makes you think, doesn't it? Is true bravery, or even true maturity, something loud that you have to announce to the world? Or is it something quiet that's just ready when it's needed most? Something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you for watching with us. See you next time.